Does the Bible have evidence from sources outside of the Bible? Let's dive in. The Bible was written over the course of 1,500 years by 40 different authors in 3 different languages and on 3 different continents. The Bible is the single most important book of all time, selling an estimated 5 billion copies. It has been translated into over 349 languages. Here is what has been said from experts in their field. Lionel Leku, world-renowned for holding the Guinness World Record as most successful lawyer for his 245 consecutive murder charge acquittals, wrote, "I have spent more than 42 years as a defense trial lawyer, appearing in many parts of the world, and am still in active practice. And I say unequivocally that evidence for the resurrection of Jesus Christ is so overwhelming that it compels acceptance by proof, which leaves absolutely no room for doubt." F. Bruce, who served as professor of biblical criticism at the University of Manchester, stated, "The evidence for our New Testament writings is ever so much greater than the evidence for many writings of classical authors, the authenticity of which no one dreams of questioning." He also wrote, "If the New Testament were a collection of secular writings, their authenticity would generally be regarded as beyond all doubt." Atheist Gerd Luberman of Germany, one of the most famous New Testament scholars in the world, said, "Jesus' death as a consequence of crucifixion is indisputable." Agnostic historian Bart Ehrman said this, "Jesus did exist whether we like it or not." The Bible contains over 25,000 archaeological discoveries confirming its reliability. Dr. Nelson Glueck, one of the world's greatest archaeologists who had more than 1,000 discoveries under his belt, was interviewed by Time magazine where he said, "It may be stated categorically that no archaeological find has ever controverted a biblical reference. Proper evaluation of biblical descriptions has often led to amazing discoveries." Ivan Panin was a Harvard grad back in 1882 who converted from agnosticism to Christianity and devoted over 50 years of his life exploring the numerical structure of the scriptures. Before he passed away on October 30th, 1942, he generated over 43,000 detailed hand-penned pages of analysis. Panin says the laws of probability are exceeded into the billions when we try to rationalize the authorship of the Bible as the work of man. He often labored up to 18 hours a day exploring the vast numeric structure. Jesus is referenced in 43 sources outside of the Bible within 150 years of his life. Historian Gary Habermas lists 39 ancient sources for Jesus, from which he expounds over 100 reported facts about his life, teachings, crucifixion, and resurrection. The fact that BC and AD are historical timelines of when Jesus lived and was crucified should help anyone recognize the validity of Jesus' life and crucifixion. Josephus was a 1st century Jewish historian who wrote, "At this time there was a wise man who was called Jesus, and his conduct was good, and he was known to be virtuous. And many people from among the Jews and other nations became his disciples. Pilate condemned him to be crucified and to die, and those who had become his disciples did not abandon his discipleship." Tacitus is considered to be one of the greatest of the ancient Roman historians. His annals deal with the Roman Empire from 14 CE to 68 CE, or Common Era. Jesus died in 33 CE. Tacitus wrote, "Christus, the founder of the name Christian, had undergone the death penalty in the reign of Tiberius by sentence of the procurator Pontius Pilate." Professor Thomas Arnold, author of the famous History of Rome and appointed to the chair of modern history at Oxford, said, "I know of no one fact in the history of mankind which is proved by better and fuller evidence of every sort to the understanding of a fair inquirer than the great sign which God hath given us, that Christ died and rose again from the dead." A.N. Sherwin White, classical Roman historian, said, "For the New Testament of Acts, the confirmation of historicity is overwhelming." Sir William Ramsay, who spent 15 years attempting to undermine the Gospel of Luke, finally concluded, "Luke is a historian of the first rank. This author should be placed along with the very greatest of historians. Ian Blakelock, professor of classics of Auckland University, stated, "I claim to be a historian. My approach to classics is historical. And I tell you that the evidence for the life, the death, and the resurrection of Christ is better authenticated than most of the facts of ancient history." F.H.A. Scribner did much to enhance the science of textual criticism. He had this to say, "As the New Testament far surpasses all other remains of antiquity in value and interest, so are the copies of it yet existing in manuscript and dating." How about a comparison of ancient works with the New and Old Testament? Let's take Plato. How many copies? 210. The time gap between the date written and the earliest manuscripts is 1,300 years. Let's take Homer of Iliad. Now they're saying there's over 1,800 copies, and the difference would be 400 years. Well, nobody seems to second guess those, right? Well, let's compare those to the New Testament manuscripts and New Testament early translations. Between those two, it's over 24,000 copies. The difference in time gap, 50 years. The Old Testament, 42 plus thousand copies. So let's take total biblical manuscript evidence, 66,362. Well, this was actually back in 2014 when Josh McDowell was writing this. Critics have argued that the New Testament has variance between copies. However, less than 1% of the variance had anything to do with the meaning. Spelling and punctuation do not take away from the meaning. The Bible can be trusted. It has been said that Aristotle's copies would stack 4 feet high, while the New Testament copies would stack a mile high. Now, I didn't even dive into Lee Strobel, Josh McDowell, C.S. Lewis, Lord Littleton, Gilbert West, all these people that set out to disprove the Bible, the New Testament, Christianity, and yet they found out it was true. I would encourage you to dive into your own study. My last question to you on this topic is, if Christianity were true, would you believe it?